welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. Today's the first day, my first full day as a 1,000 subscriber YouTube commentator. So that's all nice and dandy. So we got 999,000 more subscribers until we reach 1 million, right? Anyway, thank you and I want to say thank you once again for supporting this channel all these years, and I am grateful to all of y'all more than you ever know. So and yes, Warren, you're right, 1,000 is okay. Yeah, 1,000. And you know what, I think the average YouTuber, I'm talking about the average YouTuber who's struggling, there's a lot of folks that don't reach 1,000. So 1,000 is a hurdle to climb, and that's an achievement in itself. So we'll start with the hellos with everybody. Hola, Willie and Peeps, says Warren, and how are you doing? Good show today on the undercurrent. Let's see here. We have Max RJ, who says day 3 of the 12 days of fuck Israel, and couldn't agree more. And, just Donald Trump being Benjamin Netanyahu's bitch. So much for this America First thing, right? Let's see. Hey, yo, Willie Bragg Show, and Uncle Warren says CBC voter. And how are you doing today, CBC voter? I always like the pancake emblem you have there. So, and Max RJ says Uncle Warren Peace Prize, and the usual suspects and all of that, and yes, hopefully 1 million. Hopefully 1 million. And the undercurrent, yeah, friends of the Willie Bragg Show, they're here. How are you doing today? And right, and hey, Uncle Warren. So I'm guessing that's Laney on the other end over there. So how are you doing today, Laney? And yep, that's who it is, Laney. Okay, folks. Today we are going to discuss what happened on Sunday. Something that's a threat to. That's something that was a surprise to all of us. Was the passing away of Rob Reiner. I don't know why I just got foggy all of a sudden. But before we do, I think we just always try to. Sometimes I forget. But sometimes I would like to start the show off with just a little bit of humor. And this I found on Facebook, but it's better when I can post it from TikTok, or because TikTok tends to get better reception. So anyway, here we go. Let's go and find that video.
Stop showing us how stupid we look! Ah! Stop showing us how stupid we look! Ah! Stop showing us how stupid we look! Ah! Stop showing us how stupid we look! Ah!
Yeah, and I'm willing to meet the Karen halfway when she says stop, making us look stupid, because they do it to themselves. And it's always, now they've been making fun of the left, the liberals, the centrists, and the real left for the past several years, and it's payback time. Doesn't mean you're on Team Kamala Harris, Team Pete Buttigieg, Team Gavin Newsom when you say this sort of thing. It means that because I consider all of them right wing. So, but it does mean that it's time to whip right wing ass and make them make them feel the same crap that we felt for years. Game.org, how are you doing today? It's great seeing you here. Let's see. So we will do this. We will start with the passing away of Rob Reiner. Came as a shock, of course, and we all know Rob Reiner, director, actor, son of Carl Reiner. Yeah, I've seen him on the Dick Van Dyke Show and all that, and you've seen some. Yeah. We all know Rob Reiner best from All in the Family, but we also know he's done other things as well. This is Spinal Tap, other, you know, various movies and whatever. He was married to Penny Marshall from Laverne and Shirley. So he's and I've been a little harsh on him in the last few years because of the what I call the toxic side of Trump derangement syndrome, which I used to use that term more often, but I'm going to go give some of those people of the resistance just a little bit of credit, not too much, because there's a lot of aspects of the resistance movement that I still bothers me. The Russia gate thing that they try to pin on Trump, and which I will defend Trump on that. He's not guilty of that. He's guilty of a lot of shit. He's not guilty of betting the Russians and all that. Any more than Joe Biden was abetting the Chinese that they accuse him of doing. And so it's just what I basically am saying, though, is that he went with the Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, to the point where it got ridiculous, where he talked about one time how he would love to see Liz Cheney run for president. Liz Cheney. And he made some comments one time about George W. Bush that he didn't dislike the guy. He just had some disagreements. But, and then there were quotes of him making disparaging remarks about George W. Bush when George W. Bush was president. And like Russell Doppler said yesterday on Due Dissidence, that George W. Bush was Trump before Trump, but he got rehabilitated when he kind of turned anti-Trump. And mark my words, if Trump doesn't, keel over, and if he steps down in the year, let's see, it's 2025. In 2029, if he steps down January 2029, and he's not a dictator at that point, and somebody comes along that will make J.D. Vance look like Dennis Kucinich. Somebody far worse than a Trump comes along to take over. Whether we're talking about Ron DeSantis or someone of that nature coming along later on, they will rehabilitate Trump. And I suspect that if Rob Reiner was still alive, he probably would be doing the same thing. So, hey, they have already rehabilitated Marjorie Taylor Greene at this point. You had Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland who sat there just talking shit about Marjorie Taylor Greene all of the time. All of a sudden, he's saying that the tent is big enough to allow Marjorie Taylor Greene in the party because mean old Trump. Because Trump turned on Marjorie Taylor Greene. So there you have it. It's getting so ridiculous to the point where I can almost see them saying, well, Nick Fuentes, we're going to have to go and stick up for Nick Fuentes because Trump. I hope it doesn't get to that point, but nothing's going to surprise me anymore. But suffice to say that I've been harsh on Rob Reiner, and I and it's funny because I actually did respect the fact that he played the character of Michael Stivic on All in the Family, the left-wing son-in-law of Archie Bunker, and always countering Archie's bigoted and right-wing narratives and correcting him. And they needed a protagonist like that on the show to basically show Archie the errors of his ways. A funny thing about On the Family is that in its day, and even to this time period, that the people who really rooting for the meathead really roots for the meathead, even at his most TDS moments, Trump derangement syndrome moments, which I'm going to use that term temporarily. Um, yeah, I still respected the fact that he took on Archie back in the day. I can't take that away, and but I would say that it's hard to speak too well of somebody. And I know it's 2025. We have a different view of Bernie Sanders today, but somebody who chose Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in 2016 and Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders in 2020, it's hard to respect someone like that. So that's where my criticism of Rod Reiner still. That's where my criticism of Rod Reiner comes in. But I'm sorry that like anybody else, I'm sorry that he passed away. And but here's the thing about Rod Reiner passing away, that there was a lot of people that didn't agree with him, that basically said that they gave their condolences and all that, and that was great to hear. But here's the thing. Um, where is that tweet? Right here. Donald Trump, if Donald Trump would have gave his condolences, the usual, I didn't agree with him, but this is a tragic loss, what have you, that would have been newsworthy. What Donald Trump delivered as a tweet, and I guess it was originally it was on Truth Social, but I guess he put it on Twitter. Oh, it's here on Twitter anyway. What he had to say is very Trumpian and very, very low class. I'll read it to you. And this is my horrible Trump impression. And if my impression of Trump is too horrible, I'm going to read it in my regular voice. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, incurable affliction, which a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by raging obsessions of President Donald J. Trump, with an obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. That is Trump in a nutshell. Very, very non-classy, very crass. So much so that his supporters are like, what the fuck, what the hell. And so, yeah, I just I don't understand how some people could just sit there, and I don't want to make it a partisan thing about Trump. So I don't, but you know, how very low he it's like there's a new level of low he will go there. And first time around from 2017 to 2021, I mean this crap was funny, but it, it wears thin. And as the song by the Smiths go, the title called "This Joke Isn't Funny Anymore," it applies to Trump. This joke isn't funny anymore. So there we have it. But anyway, I just really think is very low on Trump's part for what he did. And so, and there you have it. I will talk about another aspect of Rob Reiner that's not connected to his death, and that's the TV show On the Family, which he's most well known for. And as I said, On the Family was a very positive program for me. I won't say it absolutely shaped my politics, but it kind of laid the seed and foundations in a lot of ways. And I've had a conspiracy theory about Rob Reiner's character, Michael Stivic, the meathead. And some of you know this about me, some of you don't, maybe, but I think most of you probably do know this about me. I mean, y'all know I'm a socialist, but I'm a my tendency or avenue of socialism is the Eugene Victor Debs avenue of socialism. So I came out of the Socialist Party USA for many years. I was in that party for many years, and I was with the Young People's Socialist League. I was, and the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, sort of is adjacent to the Debsian tendency and tradition too. Having that said, this is where he comes in as the fictional character of Michael Stivic. When you watch All in the Family, if you just watch the early years of All in the Family, listen what is said about him and listen to what he says on the show, and you will draw the conclusions. You could possibly draw the same conclusions I have. And like on the very first episode, the pilot, and even the unaired pilots, this was said, and it was played by different actors. Rob Reiner's character, Lionel Jefferson, was in the living room talking with Gloria and Michael while Archie and Edith were at church, and they're ready for the brunch. And he made a comment about the young, angry, white social democrats. Lionel Jefferson made that remark. Now, that's a term that's not used that often in this country. It isn't a term that's used that often in this country. And so, only maybe in left-wing circles it's been used, but it's not used in mainstream conversation, and still to some degree it's not used. Yeah, in mainstream conversations, if it's used as a pejorative, they'll call somebody a liberal or just a generic Democrat, you socialist or you communist, but they never say you social democrat. So, but calling him a social democrat. And what was a social democrat in 69, 70, 71, 72 was somebody who would have been with the Socialist Party, affiliated with the Eugene Debs tradition, the Norman Thomas tradition, the Michael Harrington tradition. So that is my take on that. And I could be wrong and I could be full of shit, but I'm reading too much into it. So, and there were other things that were said in the series that kind of indicated that sort of thing too. So I would have said that by 1972, when the Socialist Party split into three different parties, he went with the faction that would be eventually DSA. That is basically my observation. And I could be full of shit. I could be wrong. But that's what I think. So, anyway, but I'll tell you about All in the Family. All in the Family was, we all know All in the Family aired from 1971 to 1979, and then it became Archie Bunker's Place from 1979 to 1983. And then All in the Family, it was based off a British TV show called Till Death Us Do Part. Norman Lear was in England in 1965, and he saw the TV show Till Death Us Do Part, and he liked what he saw, and he tried to Americanize it into what would become All the Family. And the networks were a little bit nervous. Similar plot line, but it's in London. Similar characters, but it's in London. Alf is a little more bigoted than Archie. Elsie is a little more she's a little more defiant than Edith, but she's um, whereas Edith was kind of ditzy, she wasn't dumb. Elsie's a little just a little dumb on the show. That's how she's portrayed. Rita is more. Rita is more basically similar to Sally Strutter's character Gloria, but a different personality. I mean, similar politics, but in across the pond. But but she's more. I mean, aesthetically, please, aesthetically speaking, I find Una Stubbs, who played the wife of Michael Rollins, who was the Meathead's counterpart. I found her more attractive than Sally Struthers, but that's just me, you know. But anyway, that's the family there, the Garnets. That's Alf. That's Elsie. That's Michael, and that's Rita. And the show was kind of based. That's where it was based from, and similar situation. Michael and Rita got married. They lived with the Garnets, and Michael and Alf will fight, just like Archie and Mike will fight. The only difference was that Alf was more bigoted than Archie. In the UK, Michael was further left than the Meathead. Weirdly enough, Michael and Alf in the UK got along better than the Meathead and Archie. It's weird how it worked out that way. But I'm a big fan of the TV series, and I just it wasn't not really aired in America the way other BBC shows were, but it did lay the foundations for All in the Family. So you ever watch the rolling credits for All in the Family? It will tell you based on the TV series Till Death Us Do Part. You know, just kind of like Sanford and Son was based on the TV show in England called Steptoe and Son. It was a similar situation, except they were, they were British, white British folks, as opposed to African American in Los Angeles. But it was like a salvage dealer, Mr. Steptoe and his son. But similar plot. So. But anyway, another little caveat. There's a song by the Monkees called, what's it called? Randy Scousket, which was banned in the UK as the title. So the only way it was allowed to be on the charts, it went with an alternative title called Alternative Title. And in that song, Randy Scousket was what Alf used to call Michael on Till Death Us Do Part. Instead of calling him a meathead, he called him, "You Randy Scousket." I mean, he used to do that. And Randy Scousket, of course, is I mean, when we say it here, it doesn't mean anything really that much, but in Britain or in Ireland is kind of considered, like a foul language. A Randy is a oversexed person. A Scouse is a low life. And a Git is an idiot. So he basically was calling his son-in-law, just that. I told you about Michael in the United States, Socialist Party member or what have you. In the UK series, played by Anthony Booth, Michael was a Trotskyist. And in real life, he was the real life father-in-law of Tony Blair. So there's that as well. So anyway, I know I ran out long enough about that. So for old time's sake, we'll play just a clip from both series just to get you a little bit in tune. So what I'm talking about, and I know every one of y'all seen All in the Family. I mean, let's face it, that's an institution. So here we go, and here is Archie.
My flesh and blood, repeat. So let's hear it again. What did you mean by what God?
Yeah, this is Archie at his, Archie, and this is Gloria and Michael doing their thing. Of course. Give me a second here.
We just don't see any evidence of God, that's all.
That's right, Daddy.
That's right, kid. Well, I knew we had a couple of pinkos in this house, but I didn't know we had atheists.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you got with All in the Family all these years, of course, and they talked about subjects that were considered taboo for an American audience at that time. Britain was a little more forward thinking at that time, and they did talk about a lot of things that would have made people frown in the United States. But what's funny about British television back then and even now today, if it's like overtly British, and I'm talking about the Americanized, sanitized shit that they kind of spoon at us here in this country. But when you watch a lot of British shows, sometimes they could take a show that looked like a 1950s style wholesome setting and have a lot of little dirty little references that you will never see here in the United States. I just think British comedy and British dramas, what have you, are basically second to none. That's just what I have to say. So I'm going to give you a little taste of Till Death Us Do Part. There we go. All right.
Start the Christian faith.
Why do you think that God with all his pull? I mean, he'd have found him a better place to stay than a stable.
And that was Michael, and that's Alf, of course, and being amused, that was Rita, and listen to what Elsie says in a second here.
There wasn't no room at the inn that night.
Oh, it was Christmas. Everywhere's crowded at Christmas.
Silly Mo! How could it have been Christmas? He hadn't been bloody well born yet.
So there you go. There you go. And there's little paper crowns that they wear that's around Christmas time. Yeah, I do that occasionally. So anyway, yeah. And that's basically a little tidbit of Till Death Us Do Part. It's just in case you're interested. You can find clippings of them on YouTube. There's a 1969 film called Till Death Us Do Part. And there's the Alf Garnett saga, which was the sequel in 1972. The Alf Garnett saga was not as good because Anthony Booth and Una Stubbs were not in it, and the movie was a little more boring. So, but but anyway, I'm getting back to Rob Reiner. I've been harsh on Rob Reiner for his shit livery in a lot of ways, but the hard right politics of Donald Trump is a hell of a lot worse at the end of the day. Some of it I could let slide by if Donald Trump would have kept us out of these wars, like he promised. But you see what's going on in Venezuela. You saw with the bombings in Iran, and you could see him basically being gay for Benjamin Netanyahu, basically sucking his dick. So it just is ridiculous. That anybody who thinks that Donald Trump is anti-establishment at this point, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, he talks a good game, but no, the hell with Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. So, anyhow, yeah, I would say rest in peace to Rob Reiner. As I said, for all the good he's done, and for where he's kind of failed in certain aspects of his political leanings later on in life, where some of the like Russell Doppler kind of said yesterday on The Dissonance once again, where some of the new leftism that that kind of ended up in the Hillary camp eventually. I mean, you look at Bill and Hillary Clinton, they were products of that time period. I mean, Bill and Hillary Clinton, they were the meathead of their day. They were hippies themselves in a lot of ways. They were part of that new left culture, and and you seen what happened, and they ended up turning the Democratic Party into the monstrosity it is today. The New Deal liberalism that made the Democratic Party, almost a social democratic party or a labor party in the way that people would define such parties elsewhere in their best moments. Even then, the Democratic Party wasn't fully that, but it was the closest thing you could make a case in 1975 that the Democratic Party was closer to the Social Democrats of Sweden than it was, let's say, to the Conservative Party in the UK. Today, the Democratic Party is further to the right of the British Conservative Party. So that's basically what I'm saying right there. And that's the problem with the Democratic Party. And Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton helped make that happen. And people like Rob Reiner, kind of was like cool with it, They were kind of cool with that. Because, class struggle was no longer a thing, being a yuppie was the thing to be at that point, and doing yuppie things. And you can see it with some of the hipsters in the coffee shops. That's the next generation. Some of them, they say good things today. Some of the millennials and some of the some Gen Zers that I do know, who I do respect and everything. Some of them, down the road, they're going to disappoint. And I don't want to brag, but I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months, and I'm glad that I'm in a situation where I don't. I'm glad I'm in a situation where I haven't changed, or changed in a way that's negative. So, and unfortunately, Rob Reiner did. But I have to go to work in a little while. I got to go a little early because I got some shit I got to catch up. I got some tests I got to take at work that I've been meaning to but haven't, and so they don't scold me too bad. I will talk to y'all here on the chat line, and then I'm gonna head on out of here. So, as I said, I saw. Let's see, we have here. I'm gonna start with the first person that I haven't talked to here tonight, and that's Kameshwari. Kate, how are you doing today? You're just now Kameshwari 108. And I hope you're doing well. I'm always glad to see you here. And Chuck, Intergalactic UFO Show. When are you doing your next video? Just out of curiosity, if you don't mind me asking. And that's interesting you said that. The Jeffersons was a great spinoff. Okay, Maude would be Arthur. The lady that played Dorothy on the Golden Girls. She was Edith Cousins on All in the Family, and she had her own show, Maude. And with Maude, she was the middle-aged feminist discovering her liberalism at that time, when liberalism in the 1970s meant something. And so basically, I like Maude from back then, but just kind of like the meathead. People like the meathead. Michael turned into basically, Bill Clinton. Maude, or the Maude caricature sadly turned into Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi. And so that's that's kind of what happened there. And she was supposed to be more like a Bella Abzug character type. And if some of you don't know who Bella Abzug was, she was a congresswoman. I forgot which district in New York, from New York City. She was basically what people, the conception of people have of AOC today as this far left congresswoman. That's what they had of Bella Abzug. She was just not quite as attractive as AOC, but she sort of fit in that role. She had a big hat and everything. Probably the biggest difference, the big difference was that Bella Abzug was a hardcore Zionist, but in the 1970s, there were still a lot of people on the left that were, in the Zionist camp that you don't see today. But that was a product at the time. But suffice to say, he was sort of like a kind of an inspiration for as a Bella Abzug type character on made as a middle class housewife that was turning left wing on the TV series. And as I said, it's an interesting show. If you haven't ever seen it, I think some of y'all have seen it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Maud, and the 2 episodes of All in the Family was pretty funny. Where cousin Maud, Edith's cousin. So, Lurley, how are you doing today? Whoops, hold on a second here. Well, before we do, Jeffersons was another spinoff. Good Times was another spinoff. Gloria with Sally Struthers was another spinoff. Archie Bunker's Place was a spinoff. Forgot the name of the show. It was a spinoff of a spinoff, and that's Florence from the Jeffersons. She had her own show for a short while. And that show didn't go anywhere. That would be part of a spinoff from All in the Family. 704 Hauser Street in the 1990s. That was interesting thing about that show. It was short-lived, and I did like it. Ernest Cumberbatch, played by, I think his name is John Amos from Good Times. Let me see if that's his name. James Evans. Good Times. Good Times. Wikipedia. Good old Wikipedia. You can always rely on Wikipedia. You know that? So let me see here. John Amos. That's correct. Is correct. He played Ernest Cumberbatch. Now, there's a significant thing about Ernest Cumberbatch. Ernie Cumberbatch was a name that Archie said on the pilot of All in the Family, where Michael accused him of being bigoted. He said he's friends with one guy at the plant named Ernie Cumberbatch. Michael accused him of making up the name Ernie Cumberbatch. But there wasn't an Ernie Cumberbatch. Whether Archie was friends with him or not, we don't know. But Archie used the name Ernie Cumberbatch to, as a way to deflect and all that. But on the TV series, he basically, whatever happened to Archie, the house was sold on 704 Hauser Street. The same house as All in the Family, Archie Bunker's house. Same house, but owned by Ernie Cumberbatch. He bought the house, and he and his wife, they lived there, and their son, Thurgood Marshall Cumberbatch, rebelled and became a conservative Republican. So that's what the show was about. And so he was sort of like a reverse Archie, or Archie Bunker's African-American counterpart. That's what the show was about. And it only lasted, there's like 8 episodes. You can find it on YouTube, by the way. It should still be on YouTube. So, and thank you for mentioning that, Chuck, about the Jeffersons. Hey guys, Lurley, how are you doing today, Lurley? I am doing good. I'm just trying to get ready for work in a short while. And we have Peace Dub in the house. How are you doing today? Yeah, okay. And let's see. Okay, we have here. All right. And everybody's exchanging pleasantries. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. How are you doing today? Happy Wednesday. And what's up, everyone? And how are you doing, too? Let's see. I think that takes care of everybody here. So, everyone, I'm going to go right now. I have to, as I said, I got things I have to take care of urgently. So, I should be back on Friday I was going to talk about Jasmine Crockett running for the U.S. Senate, and I have some things to share, my insight to share about that. And I'll do that on Friday. I was going to do that today, but I felt like I needed to talk about this. Is a little more urgent to talk about Rob Reiner because as far as Jasmine Crockett running for the U.S. Senate, that's going to be newsworthy for a while. So, um, anyway, I'm going to head on out of here, and I will see y'all soon. I am planning to have some guests, as I said, in the next couple of weeks. So, as I said, I'm going to probably be booking a lot of folks on in January. And if any of you on the chat line wants to be on the Willie Bragg show, just contact me. I think that most of y'all probably know me on Twitter. You could just go ahead and contact me on Twitter at Willie Bragg TV, and just give me a tweet, a DM, and we could talk about it if you like. I don't mind getting a chance to know some of y'all, and all. So, and I would say this: I'm out of here, so I'll conclude with my final words. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any ways you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show and help independent media grow. Not just my show, but help out Warren's show and all our other friends in this space. The Undercurrent, for example, and all the other friends in this space we call independent media. And until next time, remember to always reject corporate media because they have nothing at all to offer us. And free and pardon Ed Snowden, free Palestine. And let's become a normal country and have free health care for all. And let's do what we can to preserve that First Amendment right, which is eroding away, protect our free speech rights. Until next time, fuck Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck Israel, and fuck Donald Trump. Y'all take care. See y'all later. Bye-bye.